All right, let's do this. Spoiler talk. Spoiler talk. Last of Us Part 2 spoiler talk. All right, let's get this out of the way. All right, let's get this going. All right. So, in case you just hopped straight into this, and you didn't watch my spoiler-free review. All right, I like this game. I really do like this game. I think it's great. I think the production value is awesome, the acting, all that stuff, the gameplay, all that jazz. Absolutely phenomenal. But that story. And I feel like my gripe is not the gripe that everyone else has. A lot of people, their jimmies are rustled because they don't like the fact that Joel died. A lot of people I did not know were strangely overly emotionally attached to the fictional character of Joel, possibly, but that's not for me to judge. I did not know how many people were that attached to Joel from the first game. I think that what happened to Joel is a natural consequence of his actions, right? Slaughters all these people, all these faceless people, and to think that him taking away a possible cure to humanity wouldn't have consequences. Come on now. So I was not surprised by these turn of events, also because I had it spoiled for me, but for me it was more so the execution, and I think the way that they handle it and its shocking nature of this character you're playing, and you're like, oh, I'm playing as Joel's killer? Well, that sucks. I think that works very well, and it was still very, very shocking when I watched it. And it was brutal, and it was violent. And I think, for me, it reminded me, when I ask people a lot about The Last of Us and how they feel about it, I'm like, one of the first things I love to ask is like, do you think that the first game was a happy ending? Just because your characters live at the end, does that make it a happy ending? Oh, sorry, my controller almost dropped. But does it? Answer my question. Because you have to debate whether or not it is a quote-unquote happy ending that Ellie lives. Because of the possible consequences. You know, whether it's a doomed humanity to be ravaged by clickers, or also the retribution that is to come. But it's just, I just don't understand the reaction to Joel's death initially, because it's like a big complaint that I saw a lot was a lot of people were like, John didn't deserve to die like this. John deserved to go out like a hero, like a badass. It's like, nobody deserves anything in this world, whether it's life or in the world of The Last of Us. And I think the brutality of his death is made to reinforce that. However, Ellie not avenging his death to me, it somewhat invalidates the journey that we went on, right? And this is something I've been tossing around my mind a lot. I've been tossing it around a lot, debating back and forth on whether or not what I feel about this, right? Because to me, I truly think that the ending is what ruined this game for me. There's a lot of flaws with the story that really grinded my gears, but it was truly the ending that set me off, and I was like, really? This is what we're doing? Ellie not killing Abby is a very strange decision to me. Because over the course of this story, we slaughter droves of people. We slaughter so many people, innocent people, a pregnant woman. Terrible things. We did terrible things. And as Ellie is drowning Abby with all 8 of her fingers, she sees this glimpse of Joel playing the guitar. The first time in who knows how long of a time that the thought of Joel that she has isn't him beaten, bloodied, and dead. Pops into her head, and then she lets Abby go and lets her take Lev and leave. To me, no matter what you were gonna do, this was gonna be a cliched story about revenge, right? And there's not necessarily anything wrong with cliches if they're done well. John Wick, cliche revenge story, except it's his dog. But the execution of it makes it a very entertaining story and a very entertaining film overall, entertaining experience. And there's the cliche of, we gotta break the chain of violence and the chain of revenge and break the cycle of hatred in a world that contradicts this very message. Because what is the reward? What's the reward of kindness in this world? Nothing. They showed kindness to Sam and his older brother in the first game. What did that get them? Or was it his father? Can't remember. But what did that get them? Still end up dead. This world doesn't care about your cycles of violence and hatred. With clickers and these monsters in the dilapidated society, they don't care. And I think the most contradicting thing to me about it, like I said, it is we slaughter so many people. But Abby was just one too many. I don't buy it. I don't buy that. I don't buy that even with Ellie's PTSD, that she would still, after a year later, still try to hunt down Abby, even though she's living a peaceful life on the farm. I don't buy that either. They don't spend time working up to that switch clicking in her head. They don't build up a good enough analogy with what Tommy becomes in the end to be like, oh, but we don't want Ellie to become like Tommy, obsessed with revenge. It just seems so strange to me that with her on the verge of taking Abby's life is like she doesn't deserve this. I need to let this go. It's consuming me. Because this game is so painstakingly specific on showing you every great detail about someone's backstory, about their life, about their childhood, about their tribulations, all that sort of stuff. They are so painfully specific about showing you these characters, what motivates them and what they believe, that it pisses me off that once you get out of Seattle Day 3 with Abby, that the game wants to be ambiguous about how people feel and about how the characters feel. It's very frustrating because it's not earned, it's not deserved. It's just ambiguous for the sake of not having to explain themselves or the decisions they make because they think it's the right ones and that's it. It's very strange to have such a cliched message at the end that to me contradicts your whole entire gameplay experience. Why would Ellie care about not killing Abby? Because of Lev? She doesn't know about her and Lev's relationship. Why would she even care in the first place? Lev shot Dina and shot Tommy. I don't know. It's just that ending just does not sit right with me because I have two trains of thoughts about it, right? My first train of thought is going back to the first game, right? You're going back to the first Last of Us, and Ellie's having a conversation with Sam, and Sam asks, what's your greatest fear, or something like that along those lines. And Ellie replies, it's ending up alone. And there's two trains of thought that go into this, about this ending, because there's a version of this where Ellie is truly alone now. She goes back to the farm, nobody else is there, no friends, no family, all that stuff. She no longer has a child, no longer has her partner, no longer has her fingers. And it's hard for her to play the guitar. And now that she's completely alone, she's finally able to move forward and let go of the past that was holding her back and haunting her. Right? She accepts this hole in her heart. And it's a sad thing because she ends up alone like how she was originally, or originally didn't want to be in the first game. And to me, that ending would be made more impactful if she takes Abby's life. Because to me, if she takes Abby's life, Lev floats off in a boat like Moses into the coast, into the endless nothingness, can't tell the difference between the sky and the sea, I get it, drowning in endless sorrow and revenge, blah, 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 imagery. But if Ellie kills Abby, then comes home to no one being there, to me, that cements this journey, this theme of you got your revenge, but at what cost? You don't have anyone anymore. You lost one person, and then you lost everyone because you were so consumed by hatred. To me, that's a far more interesting theme. That's a far more interesting take than I lost everything, killed so many people, compromised who I was as a person to myself and to my partner. But hey, at least I stopped this cycle of revenge. Okay, Chief. You got me. That doesn't sit right with me at all, as compared to her actually killing her. And oh my God, and I cannot stand these people who are going on in these posts and these subreddits and Twitter and all this stuff, blah, 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 who want to come with this high and mighty attitude, who are like, well, if you advocated for Ellie killing Abby, then you're just a terrible person and you're dumb for not realizing that the only way to cope with trauma is forgiveness, and that's it. Just because you enjoy the ending doesn't make you a better person. So let's cut that out. All right. Because you're afraid of criticism doesn't mean you should poop your pants over it, all right? But my second train of thought for when it comes to the ending is that I saw a very interesting theory. I saw a very, very interesting theory. And it has to do with Ellie's bracelet, right? That she gets from Dina. And when you leave and you go to Santa Barbara, when you look in Ellie's backpack and when you check her wrist, she doesn't have her bracelet anymore. As if like she gave it back to Dina, like implied that she left it back at home, right? And then in the final cutscene, when Ellie comes back to the farm, she has the bracelet on. And if you pair that with the note that was from Jesse's parents saying there's always a place for you and Jackson, for Abby, not Abby, Jesus, for Dina, JJ, and Ellie, there's always going to be a place. It is a possibility to assume that Ellie, after coming back from Santa Barbara, went back to Jackson, made up with Dina, got the bracelet back, came back to the house, put away the guitar, and let go of Joel and her past and is moving forward with her life. That's a pretty solid ending. But why make it so ambiguous? Why not give us that catharsis of seeing them together? Or that possibility of them being back together as a family? I just don't understand where the ambiguity comes from in the final act of this game and everything that they do. Everything's so ambiguous. And it's only for the sake of, it feels like they do this because they don't want to stand behind anything that's more than their surface level decision of Ellie breaks the cycle of violence and that's it. You know? It just feels like everything about this just feels so contrived for the sake of giving a very shallow conclusion to the story. It almost feels like they didn't even know how they wanted it to conclude. I don't know, man. I don't know. Those are my two trains of thought. If that theory is correct, you know. If that theory is correct, then they should have done more to explore her coming home. But if it's not, then she should have killed Abby and made that loneliness complete. But I guess that's part of the ambiguity. We'll never know. Did she actually make it back? Isn't that what makes it a good story? No, that's not. That's not the same level of ambiguity that the first one has. Because the first one, we still have the catharsis of the answer. The response. Is everything you told me true about what happened to the Fireflies? It is. Swear to me. Blah, 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 blah. It is. Okay. Roll credits on the first Last of Us. Much better setup. It's still the ambiguity. It makes you wonder what happens next, not wonder what happened in between before you got to the ending conversation. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. The way that they use ambiguity in this final part, it makes no sense. But moving on from that, let's talk about some other things I didn't like. Just because they're on my mind more than the things I do enjoy about this game. They really do undermine the experience more for me. I really, let me say this. I really like Abby. Whoa, whoa, put the guns down, all right? Love Abby. I think she's a great character. I completely understood her motivations for what she did with Joel. I enjoy her conflict. I enjoy her relationship that she had with Yara and Lev, and also with Manny. Completely enjoyed her character, her cast, her world that she was a part of, the things that she had to deal with, the scars, all that stuff. Loved it. However, what I didn't like, playing as her was essentially 10 hours of fetch quests. Like, there was no unique story to what she was doing and how it related to the overall theme of breaking the cycle in a very engaging way, despite her, other than her relationship with Lev. But beyond that, it was just so boring having to constantly do fetch quests. Go find Owen. Owen's at the aquarium. Get to the aquarium. Yara got hurt. She's gotta get the medical supplies. Lev runs away. Gotta go get Lev. Gotta bring him back. It just feels like everything that was done for her story in the second half of the game was only there to just get her away from the aquarium for the times that she wasn't supposed to be there, so that Ellie could kill Mel and Owen. Because beyond that, it truly doesn't feel like there is much imagination in your actual quest and your reason to leave out and go to where you needed to go. And it just feels like Isaac was wasted as a villain, by the way. And it feels like Yara was just so killed so anticlimactically, along with Manny. And it's just like, the thing about death and the way it's handled in this game is just, I cannot stand how cavalier it is after Joel dies. Jesse gets shot in the face. We're only going to mention him twice after that ever again. Yeah, Manny's going to get his brains blown out right in front of Abby. She's going to freak out. And then she's going to keep moving forward. Yara's going to get shot in the gut randomly. No, we're just going to keep moving forward. And I hate that all these quick incidental deaths always happen through the same, listen, through the same overused trope of you are trying to crawl through a door, you're trying to pass through something, you're shimmying along, shimmying along through something, and then it initiates a cutscene where you get attacked, someone gets killed. It is so overly used throughout the whole entire game for nothing but constant jump scares and constantly killing characters, and that's it. Every single time I was walking through a door or crawling underneath something, I'm like, I'm probably gonna get attacked, and then I got attacked. Every single time I was like, my God, could you make it any more boring to get into combat encounters or to get into cutscenes by constantly overusing the same thing of us getting attacked when they do things that were so stupid. I could not stand that kept happening over and over again. Just have it naturally happen as you get into a gameplay cutscene, but they wanted to make it feel seamless because it's like, oh, you think you're in control until you get attacked, and it's like, dude, it's not that deep, bro. If I'm in an open field, just have it happen. Like when I was in an open field and Ellie gets shot by an arrow, and then I learned about the arrows and the stars and all that stuff. That's a great way of introducing that threat, but constantly trying to open up a door, attacked by a clicker, every single time, oh my God, bro, I was about to lose my mind because it was so boring having to go through that same thing over and over again. They were not inventive at all whatsoever when it came to those combat encounters and how the story would progress and how they treated death, and it was just like, oh. This game makes me want to rant, man. Because inside of it is a truly great game. I truly think a masterpiece of a game is trapped inside of the messy exterior of The Last of Us Part 2. And there's a lot to love about the game. The combat, except for the shooting. Naughty Dog, change your shooting mechanics. It is so stupid. Yeah, realistically, people miss shots. Yeah, but if you've been training for a while, you're gonna miss a point blank shot. Because you're, I don't know if I'm gonna aim. Adrenaline's pumping. Stop it. Stop. Like, the amount of weapon sweat and all this stupid stuff inside of this game just completely ruins the experience because it's so frustrating getting into combat, and it just makes me want to do melee all the time because the shooting is so inconsistent for the sake of realism. Well, how about they realistically practice their shots and make them? Especially at close range. Makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. This game gets me heated, man. And I didn't expect to get heated about this game, but I'm heated. I'm ranting. Because I just wish it was better. I truly wish the story was better, and I truly think that a big part of that is Bruce Straley leaving. And I feel like Neil has a lot of these ideas, but Bruce was the person who brought it all together and made it happen and made it work. And it was this give and pull of like his creative vision when it came to Neil Druckmann. And then someone was like, okay, I see what you're saying. How about this? And then we reined this in just a little bit. Because looking at Uncharted 4, looking at Last of Us 1, same creative team, but what's missing in The Last of Us Part 2? Bruce Straley. And it feels like it shows. Really feels like it shows. So, Last of Us Part 2, man. That second half is whack. It's just fetch quests. And it's so frustrating because, like I said, I love Abby. I really do enjoy her character. I really, really enjoy her character. I'd play a whole game that was just Abby. Did he say that? How can he say he likes Abby, but he doesn't like aspects of the game? What? He can have a opinion that's not just fit into a blank slate? Blah, 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 blah. But it's just overglorified fetch quests for her. But, and you could say the same thing, you could say the same thing about Ellie. Yeah, but they hide it well. They hide it in the way that this game comes together in the opening half of the game, where it's like, oh, well, we got to explore all of downtown Seattle, try to find some gas. Okay, we open this generator, but we got to investigate this hotel and all this sort of stuff, and find yourself in the subway and all this stuff, and all these unique locations. But also, you're chasing after a singular person and trying to gather clues as you go along the way. I don't know what they could have done differently for her story. Even if you couldn't add anything different to Abby's part of the story, they could have cut out so many of her flashbacks with Owen. I did not care, and I did not need that sex scene. Did not need it at all. But they could have cut out so much of Abby's backstory of flashbacks with Owen, because they really did not pertain that much to the story. And I get it, they really wanted me to feel bad for when Owen died, even though he cheated, but I didn't feel bad about it, because they kept trying to force me to care about Owen. I didn't care. I didn't care. Like, this game went out of its way to make you play these long 2-hour sections of these side stories and flashbacks and all that sort of stuff that didn't have anything to do with what you were doing right then and there. And it was so annoying, because it was just like, dude, you don't have to force me to care about Abby. I genuinely came to care about her as I played as her during day one. I got the flashback I needed about her father, got the flashback I needed about her killing Joel. That was all I needed initially to set me up, and then just let me play as her, building my way up through day one through day two. Even if you keep the same fetch quests and all that sort of stuff and all that crap I didn't like, even if you still kept that, just cut out some of the overly bloated exploration, cut out some of the unnecessary flashbacks, and I would have cared more about her, because I'd be more invested in the moment and not constantly kept getting taken out by flashbacks from like 3 months ago. Like, I need it. Also, I'm gonna say it, man. I'm gonna say it. I don't know how to put this without sounding offensive, but Gustavo Santaolalla, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, or Santaolalla. See, I see the double L and I think Santaolalla. Anyways, Gustavo, that score wasn't hitting, homie. All right, I said it. That music did not slap this time around. It didn't. I can't think of a single score, movement, or piece of music that was memorable from The Last of Us Part 2. Especially when you compare it to The Last of Us Part 1 and it's composed by the same guy. It did not tickle my pickle at all whatsoever. But yeah, I guess that's most of my spoiler thoughts. I'm glad I got that off my chest. Like I said, look, I don't hate the game. Despite me ranting and raving about what pisses me off about the game for the last 25 minutes, I really do like the game. I really do. There's a lot to love about it. And for some people, they're gonna blindly look at the things that I've brought up, or look at some of the things that I've said, or critiques or issues and pacing and all that stuff, and say, hey, it doesn't bother me at all whatsoever. Well, more power to you. All art is subjective, I guess, but hot diggity dog, man. They had me until about day 2 of Abby's story. That's when they lost me. And then they did not redeem themselves with the ending for me, but you know that. We talked about that. Trying to think if there's anything else. Joel, Tommy, Dina, Jesse. That should be everything, man. Talked about most of everything. Do I want a Last of Us Part 3? Not really. Not really, man. I'll tell you what I do want, though. I want multiplayer. This game was fire. Combat was fire. I'd love to play some multiplayer. That'd be some heat. That'd be absolutely fantastic. But anything else? Not really much else I really want from the game, you know? So with that being said, that concludes my spoiler-filled thoughts on The Last of Us Part 2. There's a masterpiece in there somewhere, but it ain't the finished product we got, homie. It's not. And I feel like to call this game a masterpiece, you have to be doing a lot of ignoring of critical issues of this game and the way it's designed, with these bloated exploration parts and the combat, and they do a lot of ignoring. But to blanketly also call this game a failure, to call it trash, no. Still is a feat in gaming and what these people are able to make and what they're capable of. Well, that being said, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment sections down below. What did you think about The Last of Us Part 2? Leave me your spoiler-filled thoughts in the comment section down below. And also, while you're down there, if you enjoyed this review, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're new, subscribe here to become a part of the GeekSpeakNation channel. And make sure you hit that bell icon and set it to all so you always get notified of when I post a video. And maybe you, too, could resurrect a dead YouTube channel. I greatly appreciate it. With that being said, guys, I'm Daniel, and don't forget to get geeky.